North Shore Pride. Corey, I got a 49 for you. Somebody on the North Shore recorded a 49, I bet. Somewhere around there. 58 degrees yesterday morning in New Orleans. What a glorious morning. Today, pretty nice. 60s, waking up, rolling to about, 80-something degrees. I'd guess about, what do you think, Mario Brothers? I'm going with 81 and 60% humidity. What are you going with?
Yeah, probably like 82 and like 55. Yeah.
A little different. It's like Price is Right. Wow, 86. So you're closer.
Yeah.
And the humidity number is 52%. I'm closer. You were over. You had 55% humidity. I win the showcase showdown. Okay. Mario doesn't even care. I got a dinette set, Mario Brothers, and a bedroom bed and nightstand.
I do care. I was going towards the higher temperature because it's way too hot for October 21st.
Let's look behind curtain number 2, what Mario would have won. Oh, a jet ski. Incredible. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, Mario.
Shout out Jim Mora.
Yep, there you go. That's Mario Brothers. He's fielding your phone calls. 766-9480. 766-9480. Wow, the New Orleans City budget deficit. It was like $63 million a couple of weeks ago. $63 million. Then it creeped up to no, we're off a little bit. It's $100 million. Then the Louisiana State Legislative Auditor comes in, scours the books, and it's $160 million. And now I'm hearing it's like $200 million. I mean, it's just going to keep going? They're now talking about not being able to make payroll for the rest of the year. Mario Brothers, by the way, we're not going to be able to make payroll the rest of the year. Come in here and produce the show and keep answering phones and the like.
Dang, okay.
I don't know. I'm going to have to pay energy bill or something.
Yeah.
I remember I did some Saints color for some preseason games a long time ago, Mario, like 30 years ago. I was younger than you. And I forgot what happened. Like Doug Greengard was doing them and he wasn't available. So they got Larry Matson, and then the color guy works with Greengard. He wasn't going to do it with Matson or so. I don't know what it was. Anyway, they're like, you want to do color for Saints games? I'm like, hell yeah. I was like 27, 28. It's like, sure, I would. It was, I think at the time, like the youngest person ever do play-by-play or color for an NFL broadcast.
That's awesome.
For radio. Anyway, I'm sure it was terrible. I've got the tape somewhere. It was in Foxborough, New England preseason game, and then it was in Minnesota, a Vikings preseason game. Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that damn story, Mario Brothers.
You were doing color.
Yeah, I know all that, but I forgot where we were going.
That happens, man.
Well, it's terrible.
It happens.
Maybe we'll come back to that story.
I'm sure it will, like in the second hour or something.
No, it's like 30 years ago. I was doing Saints color. Oh, I remember.
Hey,
kaboom goes the dynamite. Yeah, you would have never been able to get me back on track. You had no idea where I was going. It was about me paying your Entergy bill.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I was supposed to get paid like $500 a game, something like that. And I go to the boss. What was this guy's name? I think I know what his name is. I'm going to call him sort of the opposite of his name. His name was M.Y. were his initials. Mark something. Mark Y.
Okay.
And Mark Y was just sort of like a BS sales guy, And I remember going to him. It was like 2 weeks later, and I was supposed to get the check like a week earlier. It's just like, hey, Mark, looking for that $250 or $500, whatever it was. I think it was $500. Looking for the $500 for the Saints game. Oh, yeah, we'll get that. And just kept pushing it back. And then literally, it instead of saying, hey, you're not going to get paid, we're screwing you, he literally pulls a box of Tabasco ties, like in the plastic, like that Tabasco hot sauce, had peppers on some. They were cool ties, don't get me wrong. I'll go get my own ties, though. If I want a Tabasco tie, I'll go buy one. And I can't use the Tabasco tie to pay the Entergy bill. So, Mario, I've got some Tabasco ties for you for running the program. Good luck using those as, dinero.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my story, Mario. I'm sticking to it. Did not get paid for either game.
That's messed up.
I got some Tabasco ties. I was pissed.
Man, that's horrible.
And then what did I think I got like 3 or 4 Tabasco ties for the first one. And then the second 500, I forgot what I got. I got like, I'm not kidding you, like Popeye's gift certificates or something ridiculous. I was like, how about the cash money?
So,
Yeah, mortgage, car note, energy bill,
yeah,
all that good stuff.
man,
Anyway,
I hate when people try to pay you in gift cards. That's happened to me before too.
yeah.
Too.
Well, like my mom always says, you don't have 2 nickels to rub together. Get the cash. I'm like, yes, ma'am. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Mario Brothers at the controls. Wow, the city budget deficit, maybe 200 million bucks. Governor Landry says he wants the National Guard troops in New Orleans before next month's Bayou Classic, before next month's Thanksgiving holiday. Over Thanksgiving, 200,000 visitors are expected in Metro New Orleans over Thanksgiving weekend. Bayou Classic, Thanksgiving. People nowadays, they look to go to cities during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, during New Year. They want to travel now. They're where they live. Thanksgiving's just a family event. Maybe they're downsized. They're older. They don't go to the kids' place anymore. The parents died, so the young couple goes somewhere else. Whatever. So New Orleans has become, for the last couple of decades, like a New Year destination. There's only a few in the United States. People go to New York for New Year. They go to New Orleans. They go to Las Vegas. They go to Orlando for Disney World and MGM and all that stuff. Maybe a few other places. People aren't going to Phoenix for New Year or Denver or Portland or Philadelphia or Dallas. They go to places where something's going on. And Thanksgiving is kind of turned into that. Man, when I was a kid, Thanksgiving and Christmas, there were no restaurants open. Zero, none. These were family events. I remember some friends of mine when I was like in 5th grade or 8th grade, whatever, young, and they had parents that were getting divorced, which was sort of a rarity back then in a way. It was maybe 25% of married couples got divorced 50 years ago. And they would end up going to hotel restaurants on Thanksgiving and Christmas because that was the only place that was open. Now, I mean, about 20, 25 years ago, restaurants slowly but surely started opening, definitely on Christmas Day and Thanksgiving. And now it is full-blown, wide open. It's almost hard to find restaurants that aren't open on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving. And the ones that maybe aren't as high-endish, middle, high end. I mean, it's Thanksgiving, special event, Christmas, special event. You're not going to go eat a po' boy. So a lot of places have done that. And now it's gone another level where we're going to go travel on Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to go travel over Christmas. We're going to travel over New Year. And New Orleans is a destination. 200,000 expected over that Thanksgiving weekend, mostly for Bayou Classic. Governor Landry wants the National Guard in the city, along with Troop NOLA, along with the NOPD, and along with other law enforcement agencies. The 400 police on the street, I'm sure a few dozen had to be other law enforcement agencies besides NOPD for this, NHL middle-aged boy concert the last couple of days. The NBA doesn't stand for basketball. Your NHL joke isn't funny and it's not applicable. We're going to call it a slant rhyme joke. Like it really isn't applicable because NBA doesn't mean National Basketball Association with young boy.
And now you know.
Thanks to Mario Brothers. He's 31 and he loves NBA young boy. And he also likes Bad Bunny.
And Coach O.
Oh, he loves Coach O. It's ridiculous. Mario Brothers, if you've ever seen Mario Brothers in front of Coach O, he just hugs him and Coach O doesn't mind. And for the duration of their visit, he's just hugging Coach O around the waist. It's scary. His head's under Coach O's arm. And it's like, that's my pal Mario. Love Mario. You're like a little teddy bear. I just keep hugging him.
Go Tigers.
It's positive vibe. Feel good about it. Mario, give me $20. My wife took a lot of my money. Coming right back, New Orleans. Don't go anywhere. Scott Rabalais from The Advocate talking Tigers.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe. Artificial turf custom golf putting greens. Beautiful, functional, zero maintenance. Call New Orleans' own LGD Lawn and Landscapes and get your free estimate.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right, Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
Roll call.
Arabi, Chalmette, Violet, Lafitte, New Orleans East, Slidell, Mandeville, Covington, Hammond, Homa, Thibodaux. We got you covered.
Well, I was just talking to a buddy of mine a little while ago. He was saying how hot it is. Didn't want to go outside. Total Maintenance, air conditioning experts. If you need AC help in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, think Total Maintenance. Fair and honest Lucas and the boys, diagnosing it right the first time and coming immediately. Yeah, they have a sense of urgency because they realize your inconvenience. If you need air conditioning help in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, think Total Maintenance. tm-ac.com. Yesterday we were talking about it. Does Brian Kelly need to go in Baton Rouge up at LSU? Year 4, no playoffs. I mean, hanging on by a thread and could run the table and still not make the playoffs. Recruiting, always a highly ranked class, but why are you going into that transfer portal and bringing in so many players and so many of them starting? If you were recruiting, you'd have really good depth. And boy, the defensive line, I don't know if Brian Kelly's ever had an LSU quality defensive line. 3 or 4 great starters and 3 or 4 great backups that could start for a bunch of other programs. That used to be the norm. That's Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State, but not LSU. Losing record on the road. about a 35% clip against top 25 teams. Right now, 20th ranked in the country, according to the AP. And there are 8 SEC teams ranked ahead of LSU today. 8. It's a 16-team league. That puts LSU football in the bottom half of the Southeastern Conference. This guy's been writing about LSU Tiger football for decades, LSU athletics. Scott Rabalais from The Advocate joins us. How you been, Scott?
I've been okay, Corey. Never a dull moment coming to the Tigers.
No, there never is. I mean, if they're not winning, like right now, enough, people are going to be upset. If they're losing, people are going to really be upset. And if they're winning, it's the greatest thing on earth. So, yeah, people always they want to know what's going on with the LSU Tiger football team. Hey, Scott, before we get into it, I know we did this last time. How long have you been at it? When did you start covering sports professionally out of college?
1989.
Wow.
I went to work for the State Times, our afternoon paper, and I've covered LSU since 1992.
No, I used to love that.
Long time.
When I was at LSU, Scott, being able to get the Morning Advocate, known as the Morning Advocate, and then in the mid-afternoon, the State Times would show up in those boxes around Baton Rouge. And as a young sports fan, it was so cool being able to, whatever it was, a quarter, 35 cents, and get a State Times, and it would have some different articles and stories. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, not too many afternoon papers around anymore.
Not too many morning papers around anymore, huh?
So, yeah, well, there've been big changes, like with us in the Times-Picayune. We're the same company now, and we have an edition in Lafayette and a online edition in Shreveport. So it's changed a lot. It's definitely changed a lot, but we're still going. It's just slightly different versions of it.
So you've been at it over 35 years, all of it in Baton Rouge or elsewhere too?
No, all of it here. Yes, absolutely.
Has anyone else
get rid of me?
Anyone else covering LSU for 35 plus years that you know of? Maybe Glenn Gilbo. I can't think of too many people.
Yeah. Glenn has covered LSU for a long time. He's with Tiger Rag now. He went away and he covered Alabama and Auburn.
Yep.
For some papers in Alabama. Scooter Hobbs, sports editor of the Lake Charles American Press, has been at it longer than I have. But there's not too many left. And then Jeff Duncan, our columnist with the Times-Picayune, who mostly covers New Orleans things. He focuses on New Orleans things, like he and Rod Walker, and I focus on the LSU stuff here in Baton Rouge. So, but he just been doing it for a good while too, over 20 some years, I think. So yeah.
Now Scooter's still active. He didn't retire.
He is still at it.
No, good. No, okay, that's great. And Steve Schneider retired, so he would have been right up there with you.
That's right. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
One of the youngest people covering LSU. Definitely one of the older ones.
No, it's you've been at it longer than some people are alive. I mean, you've been covering 35 plus years. You got a bunch of kids fresh out of college that are doing a good job covering LSU. It's fun. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're 4 of the people covering LSU athletics, and they're all younger than. None of them were born when I started covering LSU.
No, sadly, you could be dad or maybe even grandpa, maybe. Oh boy! All right. Does Brian Kelly need to go? You heard that diatribe that I went off on, Scott. It's year 4, man. I mean, Saban wins in year 4. Les Miles gets one in year 4. Then a few years later, like 4 years later, plays for another one. Ogeron gets one in year 4, and I don't know. It seems like Brian Kelly, there is an expectation that by the time you're in your 4th year, at least a playoff or 2 by now, and he's over.
Yeah, it's not a really black and white question to me. I think things have changed dramatically in college athletics since LSU won the last national championship with Joe Burrow in 2019. With NIL and the transfer portal and everything, and it has leveled the playing field. That said, LSU, with the money it has, the fan base it has, the recruiting base it has, the facilities it has, the tradition it has, the stadium it has, the support it has, there's no excuse for LSU not to be at least contending to be in the college football playoff every year. Now, at the moment, technically, they still are. You know, they still are, because they can, if they ran the table, I think with which would include, if they could win their last 5 games, which would include wins over number 3 Texas A&M, Alabama team ranked in the top 5 right now, an Oklahoma team that's ranked on the road, they would get in the college football playoff. I think there's very few people would say they wouldn't. It just, they haven't shown any sign that they will. And obviously LSU has not been in the playoffs since it expanded last year, and since they won the national title with Joe Burrow. So this is what has changed about college football, Corey, is that it's now, especially for a school like LSU or an Alabama or an Ohio State or Texas, it's pass failed. If you made the playoffs, you had a successful season. If you didn't, you had your season was a failure.
Yep.
And right now LSU is trending towards a failure, and that's the way it was last year. That's the way it was in 2023 when they squandered one of the greatest offenses in LSU history, one of the 2 best anyway, with Jaden Daniels, and had such a horrific defense. And it's a fair point. But it's, as far as Brian Kelly, should he go right now? I think that's a little bit more complicated, in that you have to look at where the money would come from. You'd have to buy him out. You have to buy out the staff. You got to pay for a new staff. You got to reload the roster. It's a difficult position LSU is trending towards right now. That's for sure. And I think they probably have to write it out with Brian Kelly, unless he decides I've had enough, which that could happen too.
Huh. Why do you think that could happen? You just mean, generally speaking, anything could happen, or you feel that Brian Kelly could be frustrated and want to call it a day?
I think I think there's a lot. I think we've seen this trend in college athletics again in this new era, right? Let's just say post-COVID, right? With a lot of long-time coaches who have seen things change so much over the course of their careers. And Brian Kelly has been doing this about as long as I've been covering LSU. He's been a head coach. Yep. Different levels. And they just don't want to do it anymore. Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, Nick Saban, of course, is a great example. I think Nick still loves to coach, but he doesn't love the circumstances in which you have to coach it.
That's right.
If Brian comes back next year, he's going to have to try to get boosters to help pool the money together to rebuild the roster. You're going to lose tons of starters. You have to probably almost certainly go in the portal for a hotshot transfer quarterback to replace Garrett Nussmeier, who's a 50-year guy. And those guys don't come cheap. I think Carson Beck supposedly got a $4 million deal to go quarterback in Miami, for example. So unless you luck into a Trinidad Chambliss like Ole Miss did, you're not gonna. It's gonna cost you. Yep. And then you're probably gonna have to retool your offensive staff. I think Joe Sloan and Brett, the offensive coordinator, and Brad Davis, the offensive line coach, and maybe Alex Atkins, one of the their running game coordinator. These are all guys who the job's just not getting done, and so somebody's going to have to pay, right? And then so that's a lot of heavy lifting. And Brian Kelly's going to be 64 on Saturday. He's coached a long time. He's had a lot of success. When he retires, however long you have to wait, he's going to be in the college. He's going to get a call from the College Football Hall of Fame. No question about it. Winningest coach ever at Notre Dame, won 2 national titles on the Division II level. That counts a lot in the College Football Hall of Fame, and has won a lot of places, and over 300 wins, altogether in his career. He's going to go in the College Football Hall of Fame one day. So maybe you'll be like, I just want to play golf and drink wine. I don't know. Maybe the competitor in him will say, I didn't do what I came here to do, which is to win a national championship. And then he'd have to walk away from maybe a lot of that money. Else you would owe him about $52 million at the end of this season. So it's a complicated situation for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if LSU approached him, would it push him towards what you're saying is a possibility? And if they were like, obviously not wanting to pay, I think what's the buyout right now? $58 million. I mean, if they get him down to 25 or 30, I'm just making up numbers, Scott. Right. Would it push him to be like, wow, I'm not wanted here, maybe, Yeah.
It's more speculating about a negotiated settlement, right?
Yep.
I think that's where I think that's what I could be misspeaking here, but I think that's what we saw at Arkansas with Sam Pittman, their coach who got fired this year. I don't think they're paying him the full buyout. Yeah, and remember too, LSU. LSU has money. As I heard someone say today on a local radio show, is when they've always had the money to do the things they need to do, including getting rid of coaches. But they're still paying the Ed Orgeron buyout, the $17 million buyout, which seems kind of quaint now,
Yeah, no,
$17 million.
Exactly.
But they're paying him through the end of the year, so it's there's not an endless supply of money.
No, exactly.
For an LSU, I don't think.
No, and if you go get it from Todd Graves, then you can't go get $50 million from Todd Graves to build some, sports complex or something in the future. Scott Rabalais is with us from The Advocate. We're going to knock out a quick break. Come right back. We're talking about Brian Kelly. Does LSU need to fire Brian Kelly? Coming right back.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
Isn't it time to have that dream backyard you've always wanted? LGD Lawn and Landscapes can make it happen with artificial turf installation. Synthetic turf gives you the look and feel of natural grass. You get a beautiful lawn without the ongoing expenses of maintenance and no puddles, meaning you won't be tracking grass or dirt into the house. Let LGD come to your house and give you a free estimate. NOLALGD.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Changing talk radio in New Orleans for the better. It's Corey Johnson on the Neutral Ground. Every weekday afternoon on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333 from 4 p.m. to 5:30.
Corey Johnson back at you. Scott Rabalais with us from the Baton Rouge Advocate. So, Scott, pretty interesting. What you said, Saturday, Brian Kelly turned 64. So he's not a spring chicken anymore, coupled with this dramatic change in college football. For 95% of his career, there was no NIL.
That's right. I think he is maybe LSU was reacting instead of being proactive at times, but they have put in place a staff and off the field staff led by Austin Thomas, who's kind of their general manager now.
Yep.
College teams have general managers, and they got guys who are analyzing contracts and deals. It's the NFL light. It's the NBA light, for now, the major leagues light for all these programs. It's money is driving everything, but so they do have these things in place, and it helped them to get this transfer portal class that they had this year. And I heard what you said about you should recruit well and maybe not have to go in the portal so much, but this is what a lot of schools are dealing with, because I've heard Nick Saban say this on College Game Day earlier this year. He said a lot of teams don't have a second string anymore. You got starters and you got third stringers. The second string guys are looking for an opportunity somewhere else.
Yeah,
because they're not playing.
Yep.
Or they're not. Someone's in there. You're telling them they're not being treated fairly where they are. So
yep.
That becomes problematic. So they are doing those things, but it's not what a lot of these coaches signed up for. I mean, it becomes a question of how much the fire burns. For like a Kim Mulkey. She's got people doing that. She doesn't like dealing with the transfer portal and the NIL stuff either. She's got people that help her do that. Does the fire still burn for Brian Kelly as much as it did? I don't know the answer to that. He's been a little bit of a hard person to figure out in his time at LSU. I think he certainly likes the money. This 10-year, $100 million contract that LSU signed him up for when he arrived. But and he certainly, I think, would like to win a national championship, fill that one check, that major college national championship, the one blank space on his resume. But at a certain point, you probably go, how much do I want to keep pursuing this? I don't know. I've heard people say, who's spoken to, like his wife, saying, this is what he does. He doesn't have a whole lot of other things that he would want to do. So I don't know. Maybe he keeps burning for a while longer. But I think LSU's got to give him a chance. I don't think he gets fired this year. I don't think in any circumstances that he gets fired this year at LSU. I think he if he wants to come back next year, he will come back, and I think that's the most likely thing. But next year was always going to look like a bigger challenge than this year, even because you're losing all these starters. Maybe 9 or 10 starters on defense. You're losing Garrett Nussmeier. You're losing some of these linemen and receivers that you've brought into the transfer portal. You have to do that all over again. And can you get boosters to help you if you don't make the playoff? Because everyone is pointing towards this year. He said this is his best team, and if it's a team that ends up 7-5 or 8-4 again, then people are not getting a return on their investment, for lack of a better term.
Scott Rabalais is with us from The Advocate. Hey, Scott, it's year 4, no playoffs. I think recruiting is a question mark when you have to go to the portal and bring in that many people. It seems like it's more of you supplement. You didn't recruit a position strong enough. There was attrition at the position. Players you recruited didn't pan out. But I mean, they had to bring in players at multiple positions. They spend $20 million. They get about 6 or 7 starters. To me, that's just the recruiting classes can be highly ranked, but if they're full of wideouts or corners and you keep repeating that and you're not getting offensive and defensive linemen each and every year that are excellent, you don't have the depth. And I hear what you're saying about the change. What Saban was saying, there are no second stringers. You're right. He's right. But Georgia's doing it. Ohio State's doing it. Alabama seems to be doing it. There's schools that are getting it done in this new era. Why isn't LSU and Brian Kelly getting it done?
Yeah, that's the biggest question, and that's the biggest indictment of the Kelly era. I wrote a column a couple of weeks ago saying it's been a whack-a-mole thing during the whole Kelly era. His first team, if you remember, special teams were abysmal. They made all kinds of special teams errors to help cost them the Florida State game, their first game in the Superdome, the first game of his tenure. Got rid of the special teams guy. Second year, Jaden Daniels leads this tremendous offense, wins the Heisman Trophy, but defense was historically bad by LSU standards. And as much as people love offense, LSU people are proud of their defense.
Yes.
Chinese Bandits, DBU, the Honey Badger.
Yep.
Patrick Peterson, Tommy Casanova, people like that. Glenn Dorsey. So he had to clean out the whole defensive staff after the ReliaQuest Bowl in 2023. Brought in Blake Baker, former Tulane linebacker, who was on Ed Orgeron's staff briefly, and brought Corey Raymond back, who he should have kept the whole time after Corey Raymond went to Florida.
Yep.
Billy Napier. And so the defense is better. It hadn't looked as great last week, but they're missing a couple of key players in Whit Weeks and Bernard Gooden, and we'll see if they get them back this week. And so, and then this year's the offense. This year's the offense. You returned. You lost 4 starters on the offensive line, and but teams retool in college sports. You think a lot of times you can, if you're an LSU, you can overcome that. We've seen other schools do it. We've seen LSU do it in the past. And it's been the crux of all their problems. Nussmeier, you can't get the routes open up. Nothing looks smooth and fluid with the LSU offense. They're certainly not running the ball very well. They ran the ball pretty well against South Carolina, 166 yards. 100. They got outrushed 239 to 100 by Vanderbilt, and that is the problem. So and all the time it's something else. He kind of fixes one problem and something else pops up. They haven't been able to play, as he likes to say, complementary football. And it happened in Saturday's game. The defense kind of got shoved around most of the game by Diego Pavi and the Vanderbilt offense. And then finally they forced a couple of punts late in the game. And what happened in the LSU offense? They netted minus 10 yards on their last 2 possessions. Punted back to Vanderbilt and they ran the clock out when LSU had last 30 minutes of the game. So it's they've been a frustrating team to watch. I think there's ability there. I still think they can win any game remaining on their schedule. I don't think there's any truly great teams out there in the SEC like a 2019 LSU or a 2020 Alabama team or something like that. But seeing that this team is going to be consistent enough and good enough to run the table on what arguably is the toughest part of their schedule that's left seems ridiculous to think. And so it's a very fair criticism. Why haven't they been able to get all the pieces together, especially by year 4 of the Kelly era, to do that? And I think if they don't, it's the biggest indictment. You have to point at the guy who's running the program, and that's Brian Kelly.
Scott, what if the opposite of running the table happens? And I'm not talking about losing all 5, but getting handled by A&M, Alabama, and Oklahoma, where the thought would be Kelly's, quote, lost the team. Could that be enough to have him ousted this year?
I suppose it could. Look, I'm not closing my mind to any possibility.
Yeah.
I've long told myself that's not a very smart thing to do.
Yep.
As Han Solo said in Star Wars, I can imagine quite a bit. So I can imagine quite a bit when it comes to college sports and the vagaries of it. Look, if we can see James Franklin at Penn State go from ranked number 2, preseason number 2, and being in a top 3 matchup with Oregon, the 3
crazy
losses later he gets fired.
Yep.
Then you gotta say just about anything's on the table. And I think people
so true.
Like I said, return on the investment is what people are demanding. If they don't get that, then the patience is a lot shorter. We just saw the Southern University here in Baton Rouge. Terrence Graves taken to the SWAC championship game last year. This year, 1 of the 6, he's out.
Wow. No, it's amazing. So true.
Yeah. And so I guess anything's possible, but boy, that buyout for Kelly and his staff, look, they're paying him and the staff combined about $20 million. So, you don't get these assistant, as just saying to your listeners, you don't get assistant coaches anymore on a 1-year deal. You have to get them for 2- and 3-year deals. To get Blake Baker to leave Missouri, they had to make him at the time the highest paid defensive coordinator in college football.
Wow.
So it's a lot of money. And then again, you have to. It's not just the coaches anymore. It's the players in the transfer portal, or to retain the players. Garrett Nussmeier, how much is he getting? I'm sure it's north of $1 million. In NIL money for him to stay for his 5th year instead of having gone to the NFL. So there's a lot to consider there, and I wonder if LSU has that much wherewithal to be able to do that. But I still think no matter what, even if they go 6-6 and they only beat Western Kentucky the rest of the way, I still think he's back in 2026 if he wants to be. But it's the seat would be very hot, and there would be no question how hot it would be at that point.
Yep. Hey, Scott, you mentioned, Brian Kelly's a future college football Hall of Fame coach. He's been at it forever, and he's got 300 plus wins, and he's been successful at all programs. So this isn't the best comparison, but I don't know why, but I think of Jerry Glanville. And I'm like, Glanville takes a terrible Houston team and makes them a winner, and they make the playoffs. They go from bad to good, but couldn't get them from good to great. He goes to Atlanta, makes them bad to good, but couldn't get them good to great. Is Brian Kelly like that? Notre Dame, LSU, he gets them from, I don't know necessarily bad, but, gets them to good, even very good, but can't get them to great. Is that fair?
That's certainly been a lot of the track record. I mean, he went Central Michigan, which obviously was never going to win at a big level, to Cincinnati, kind of building the foundation for them to win there. Notre Dame became their winningest coach, got to the national championship game against Alabama the year after Bama beat LSU. And they lost, and they made the playoffs one or two other times. And obviously, a lot of his players were on the team last year that made the national championship game. And LSU has not been able to get there. Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be the big knock on Brian Kelly. I would say that puts him in a class with, there are a lot of other coaches in that class. Pat Dye never won a national championship. Bo Schembechler never won a national championship. But they won a lot of games that had a lot of success, and they're considered great coaches. So, but yeah, obviously that's the name of the game, right? That is the ultimate thing. And when you look at LSU with all the things that you have going in your favor, and maybe their advantage has diminished over some other schools. Now they're seeing Indiana winning and Vanderbilt having the season they're having, but nonetheless, it's still the Power 4 school in a state as talent rich as Louisiana and as football mad as Louisiana. And when you look at the last three coaches who won national titles, and just on the face of it, just the knee-jerk reaction, you say, well, he's a better coach than Les Miles. He's a better coach than Ed Orgeron. Surely he should be able to win national titles. If they win, then it's you have to ask why not? And there aren't any good answers from Brian Kelly at this point.
And I don't know if Brian Kelly's a better coach than Les Miles. I don't know if that's true. Look at this year. Hasn't won any big games this year. It's amazing they're ranked 20th, I think, because they're in the SEC and they're LSU. But like I said, there are 8 SEC teams ranked ahead of them.
Their 3 best wins over teams that are 3-4 now: Clemson, Florida, and South Carolina.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. Unbelievable.
None of them are ranked. At the time, they looked like big wins. The Clemson win at the time, the LSU went up to like number 4 in the country. It's like, well, this is that was the criticism going into the year. Can they finally win the season opener? And they'd lost 5 in a row, 3 in a row under Kelly. They finally did, going the only true road game out of the bunch. Well, that's not true. They went to UCLA, but in 21. But they finally did that, and it's like, okay, they have turned a corner. But the offense has been so underwhelming, and I think the defense has been a lot better. But they can't always do everything for you. I mean, it's modern college football, right? You got to go score, and that's the what else she's facing this weekend against Texas A&M. A&M has given up over 40 points on the road twice against Notre Dame and Arkansas last week. But they're going to score some points, I would think. LSU's not going to hold it to 10 points. And so LSU's one of 2 teams in FBS not to score 25 points against a Power 5 team. The other team is North Carolina. It's pretty remarkable. And they're going to have to do better than that to win this game against Texas A&M. It's possible, but you're going to have to do better. And so far, they haven't shown a lot of signs of being able to do better.
Scott Rabalais with The Advocate. A pleasure, man. Thanks so much for all the info.
Mario, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, that's Scott Rabalais. Lots of good opinions coming from him. 35 years plus of experience covering LSU. It's a Tuesday afternoon. We're coming right back.
The same old glasses that everyone else is wearing stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Artificial turf custom golf putting green. Beautiful, functional, zero maintenance. Call New Orleans' own LGD Lawn and Landscapes and get your free estimate.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Not a politician or part of a political machine. Corey Johnson.
I propose that I use what's left of the town treasury to move to a more prosperous town and run for mayor.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
I think, emotionally, if you're an LSU football fan, you're like, fire Brian Kelly. That's just kind of an emotional response. Feels good. There's some logic behind it. You could argue. But then what's next? So that's the easy part. Fire Brian Kelly. What do you do next? All right, you're replacing with John Summerall. You're replacing with so-and-so. I hear you. Lane Kiffin. But what's next? So I think Scott Rabalais makes some pretty good points. Like, I think the general consensus is Brian Kelly will get next year to prove himself. If he doesn't cut it next year, he'll get fired. And there'll be a $40 million buyout. And maybe they'll negotiate it down. And Kelly, by that time, he's 64 this Saturday, Rabalais said, so he'll be 65. Scott was insinuating, he wasn't saying like, hey, there's a possibility he could retire, like that's some definitive thing and it's been discussed, but he said it. And Scott Rabalais has been covering LSU football for 35 plus years. So it's just to bring that up to me. Somebody else has been talking about that. He's been involved in conversations with maybe boosters or something. It's just my guess. For Scott Rabalais to bring that up, like Kelly's going to be 64, maybe he'll retire. LSU approaches him about lowering the buyout or, we're not getting what we thought out of you. What are the goals? And Kelly says the goals. And have we reached them? Kelly would say no. Okay, so you failed. Kelly might be like, I'm getting older. I don't need to coach anymore. I don't like this NIL stuff. I should have done better at LSU. They owe me $58 million. I'll take 25 and walk, Don't have to worry about a thing the rest of my life. And my kids don't have to worry about a thing the rest of their lives. And their kids' don't have to worry about a thing the rest of their lives. So who knows what's going to happen? Scott said that as well. I mean, Franklin is, 6 weeks ago, number 2 team in the country. His job is secure as any job in college football. 6 weeks later, Penn State fires Franklin. From as secure a gig as any to being fired in 6 weeks. Hell, look at in college baseball, Bianco at Ole Miss. He's on the brink of being fired. They slip in the back door of the College Football World Series, literally like the 64th team. Like 64th. They win the whole damn tournament. Bianco goes from literally the day before the tournament's announced, they don't make the tournament. He's getting fired at Ole Miss. They not only make the tournament, last friggin' team, He wins the whole thing, national champs. He gets a contract extension and a raise. That was in about a 3-week period, 2-week period, from being fired to 2 weeks later, national championship coach, getting an extension and a raise. Literally, within a couple of weeks, within about 15, 20 days from you're getting fired to extension and multi-million-dollar raise. It's crazy. And Franklin, from hyper security, 10 mil a year, to being fired at Penn State 6 weeks later. No, there's nothing more volatile. There's nothing more volatile than college coaching, more so than NFL. The NFL waits till December. College, they fire you in September, October. Florida coach, gone. Penn State coach, gone. These are some of the most highly respected college football programs in the land. Top 15, top 20, all-time greatest programs. No, just boom. September, October, firings, crazy. It's going to be interesting to see what Brian Kelly does the rest of the way. Run the table? Maybe you make the playoffs, maybe not. Or do you get beat by A&M and Alabama and Oklahoma? And do you get beat pretty severely? Do you lose the team? It all comes out in the wash over the next few weeks. 766-9480. 766-9480. Corey Johnson with you. How about Katie's tonight for dinner? How about dining on the patio outside with this weather? Outdoor dining, wrapping around the building on the sidewalk, outdoor dining inside, or sit inside, whatever you like. Flat screen TVs everywhere. Check out your favorite sporting events. Katie's, as New Orleans as it gets. Wow, the city budget deficit's crazy. It was $63 million a couple of weeks ago. Then the city says $100 million. Then the Louisiana State Legislative Auditor comes in and says, no, it's about $160 million. Now we're hearing it's closer to $200 million deficit. Good going, Junket Cantrell. About 80 days left in her administration. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Governor Landry says he wants National Guard troops in New Orleans before next month's Bayou Classic, before Thanksgiving, when 200,000 folks are expected to come into the city. 5 arrested. ATVs seized, dirt bikes seized. 4 ATVs, 2 dirt bikes, a motorcycle, 3 guns seized. 2 of the ATVs were stolen. This NBA YoungBoy show on Sunday and last night brought out the ATVs and the, dirt bikes and the like in the city. Anyway, multiple arrests and seizures. That's good stuff. Troop NOLA getting it done. Donald Trump, he is a trip. He is all over the place, literally and figuratively. We'll talk about that and a whole lot of other stuff, like, does Brian Kelly need to be fired at LSU? Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. Young's Dry Cleaning. I'll make it quick and easy. If you simply want to experience the best dry cleaner in the city, youngsdrycleaning.com. They've been at it since 1940. That means 85 years of excellence. Generation after generation after generation. youngsdrycleaning.com. Experience the best. youngsdrycleaning.com. That's Blue Boy. He's saying stick around. 5 o'clock powwow right now. Don't move.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spot. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spot.
Isn't it time to have that dream backyard you've always wanted? LGD Lawn and Landscapes can make it happen with artificial turf installation. Synthetic turf gives you the look and feel of natural grass. You get a beautiful lawn without the ongoing expenses of maintenance and no puddles, meaning you won't be tracking grass or dirt into the house. Let LGD come to your house and give you a free estimate. NOLA, LGD.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
I'm pointing my finger at Mario Brothers. He's a bad boy, smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol in the studio right now. What the hell, Mario? He's just flailing his hand. Yeah, the hell with you, Corey. I like this alcohol and I like my cigarettes. He says he likes his cigarettes like he likes his women, smoking. And he likes his alcohol like his women, drunk. What the hell, Mario? Drunk and smoking hot. Wow. What a combo. Hey, Mario Brothers is fielding your phone calls. 766-9480. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Yeah, you right. 5 o'clock power hour is upon us. 5 arrested, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx. ATVs seized. The dirt bike seized. Guns. Troop NOLA. It was during last night's NHL Midlife Crisis Boy concert. NBA has nothing to do with young boy. So your NHL reference, Corey, it's not funny at all. Anyway, it was last night. For some reason, the folks on with the four-wheelers and the dirt bikes coming out in force. Troop NOLA got reports of them on Canal Street. They went after them and they just spread out, took off in all different directions. And then like down on like Claiborne's and Robertson, I think down in the 7th Ward near Circle Grocery, right around there, they went and clocked a few of them. 5 arrested, ATVs seized. 2 of the ATVs were stolen. 2 dirt bikes, 1 motorcycle, 3 guns were seized. That's a great thing about Troop NOLA. With the NOPD, they weren't able to proactively police. They're kind of a reactive force. And the criminals knew they weren't going to pursue. The NOPD were not going to come after them if they're in a vehicle or a four-wheeler or whatever. So what happens is you have carjackings and major crime, people getting murdered and killed during a carjacking. And then because there's no repercussion, lesser crimes start happening, like the drifting. And then they're drifting on the interstate. I mean, it's dangerous. Somebody's going to be like, I'm late. And they got a truck with a big, police bar in the front. They're going to go ram the guy drifting. So it's dangerous. And then you have these lesser crimes, four-wheelers and dirt bikes. On Sunday, it was like an event. Every Sunday, you could just drive around New Orleans. Like, it didn't have to be a Super Sunday either. There's going to be a crew on four-wheelers and dirt bikes, sometimes like 10 or 15 strong riding in a group. That's because it was lawlessness and there were no repercussions. Then Troop NOLA comes in and they're not under a consent decree like the NOPD, and they can pursue criminals. And soon enough, carjacking starts slowing down and the drifting stopping and the four-wheelers stop because, man, Charlie was drifting and they seized his car and Charlie's in jail. Hey, man, Big Freddie and Jimmy, they're riding their four-wheelers. They got arrested and those four-wheelers were seized. You can't drive a four-wheeler in New Orleans. You hear me? A four-wheeler is illegal to ride in the city limits. There's no way to make it legal, to make it street legal. I put blinkers on. It's got a license plate. A four-wheeler is illegal in the city limits. So you can't have a four-wheeler in Orleans Parish, period, end of story. No, it's so funny, Mario Brothers. Like a couple of years ago when that crap was like just, wild going on every weekend. If you go to my YouTube channel, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson, you click on videos. There's a couple of videos I posted from like 2 years ago of me riding with these four-wheelers on Claiborne. It's a few minutes long. It's crazy. Popping wheelies. It's like, boy, that thing falls backwards. They're dead. No helmets, none of it. None of it. It's crazy. So anyway, I'm coming from my brother's. I'm like on Paris Avenue, turning at Gentilly. So I'm about to get on I-610. And I turn, and as I turn, there's that Popeyes right there on Paris Avenue in Gentilly. And I see like two four-wheelers in the Popeyes and a dude sitting on one and one's empty. I'm like, what the hell? So like U-turn and I go back and I pull in the parking lot and I just park in the back and I'm just observing. I'm not kidding you. About a minute later, this woman walks out with bags of Popeyes and gets on her four-wheeler. So I'm like, wow, date, girlfriend, wife. He sends her into the Popeyes. So I'm like, wow, the man doesn't go. He sends the woman into the Popeyes. So then I'm laughing at that. And then they get on their four-wheelers, no helmets, and they pull on to Gentilly Boulevard. I'm like, are they going to get on I-610? So I follow them out on the Gentilly Boulevard. They don't get on I-610. They're heading towards, Dillard, towards Elysian Fields on Gentilly, away from that Popeyes. And they're just tooling down the street, and I just follow them, hook a U-turn, and leave. And I'm just like, a few things I'm thinking to myself. Okay, four-wheelers are totally illegal. Second, these people are like 40 plus, like 45, like a 45-year-old couple. They don't get in the car. They get in their four-wheeler to go to the Popeyes. The city, they can apparently ride the four-wheeler on the street, but they know that Popeyes won't serve them through the friggin' drive-through. They have to park and go inside. He sends his woman inside. So I'm like, wow, Popeyes won't serve you, but the city will. You can ride your four-wheeler around the city in Gentilly, but the Popeyes won't serve you. It's just mind-blowing. How ironic is that? And then I'm on, like a week later. It's like a week later. I'm on Claiborne's at Carrollton, sitting at the light. And there's a dude on a four-wheeler in Palmer Park, parked under the trees, like looking on his phone. This dude's like 50 years old. It's not some like kid. 50-year-old man, no helmet, on his four-wheeler in Palmer Park. I mean, just like, what are you thinking, man? You're a 50-year-old adult man, and you have a four-wheeler. You don't have a helmet on. You're riding it around in the city. It's illegal. What is going on? Just insane. Anyway, just crazy. Yeah, go to my YouTube channel, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free. But even if you don't, just go to it and click on videos. And there's one from like 2 years ago, me driving for a few minutes with just a pack of four-wheelers and dirt bikes surrounding my vehicle. It's crazy. I was on Claiborne's. And it's a great video because, I'm thinking now, I remember I'm following the pack and we're approaching Nashville. There is a cop on Nashville, like riverbound. So he's at the light. We're on Nashville heading towards Claiborne's. We're on Claiborne at Nashville heading towards Carrollton, towards Broadway. The cop's riverbound. He's at the light. The light turns red. All the four-wheelers, they don't stop for a second. They go right over the little hump at Nashville. They go right through the light, a red light. The cop has to wait. He's got the green light. The cop has to wait for them to go through the light and does not pursue them, just goes straight towards the river. It's just unreal, like right in front of the cop. It's all on video. Go check it out on my YouTube channel. So anyway, Troop NOLA doesn't mess around. Young Boy concert, NBA Young Boy last night. They get a report of some four-wheelers bogging down traffic and taking over all 3 lanes of Canal Street, blah, 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 blah. They go down there, throw on the lights. They scatter. A few minutes later, they arrest 5, seize 4 ATVs, 2 dirt bikes, a motorcycle, 3 guns, down Claiborne's Avenue a few blocks. Excellent job, Troop NOLA. No, those jackasses are like, we're going to get away. Most of them probably did. Only 5 were arrested. Only 4 ATVs. It was multiple. It was probably 20 plus dudes, 20 plus ATVs. So a lot of them are laughing. We got away from Troop NOLA. Well, the 5 that got arrested and the 4 ATVs seized and the 2 dirt bikes and the motorcycle and the 3 guns seized, they're not laughing. Troop NOLA, thumbs up. Yeah, you're right. Good job, Troop NOLA. Crazy. Riding a four-wheeler around the city. It's just insane. No, the great thing about Troop NOLA, those lunatics with the four-wheelers, they're keeping them inside, or they're doing the right thing and putting them on a trailer and bringing them out to the country where they belong. No, and the word's spreading. I remember I was saying this on the show one time, and someone called in, or a guest like, Corey, no one's listening to you or the program that's a criminal like that. I'm like, no joke. But they're talking amongst themselves that Jimmy got arrested and they seized his four-wheeler. Billy got arrested. He was drifting the vehicle, and the cops came. The Troop NOLA cops came. No, and then when you get arrested by Troop NOLA, it's Liz Murrell in Baton Rouge, the attorney general, who's going after you. All this chatter in the street, all this is known with these criminals. That's why we're seeing a lot less of this crap. But, this NBA Young Boy concert, it brought out all the lunatics. Like, great time to go ride my four-wheeler. The 400 cops, they're all going to be downtown. Boy, Donald Trump is a trip. Did you check out those Venezuela comments, Mario Brothers, about Venezuela from Trump? He's basically like, Venezuela is going to give us everything we want. Oil, minerals, whatever we want. And he goes, you know why? Because he doesn't want to mess around with the United States. And mess is not the word he used. The 6th letter of the alphabet, that letter, that bomb, literally. Venezuela is going to give us everything we want. You know why? Because he doesn't want to blank around with the United States. That's the president of the United States dropping the 6th letter of the alphabet bomb. I kind of liked it myself. I thought it was pretty funny. I had no problem with that. Venezuela's a nightmare. Maduro's a nightmare. The woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize that was dedicating it to Trump, she's the one that should be president of Venezuela. Anyway, I thought that was pretty good. Also, Trump's not going to pardon P. Diddy, although I don't know why he pardons George Santos over the weekend. George, have a good life. Why? I don't get Trump sometimes. I mean, no one likes George Santos. Why would he pardon that criminal? I don't get it. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. Can't figure Trump out.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Simlawn Artificial Turf Custom Golf Putting Green. Beautiful, functional, zero maintenance. Call New Orleans' own LGD Lawn and Landscapes and get your free estimate.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-JC.com, your cool spots.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet. Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville. A New Orleans tradition for over 40 years. Serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
Women are often throwing clothing items at me, saying you're the possessor of the cool factor. I have to fight off the ladies.
90 minutes of fun every weekday afternoon on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333 from 4 p.m. to 5:30.
I can't even take that rejoiner seriously. I wish that were the case. I'd like to sit here and brag and say that women are throwing clothing items at me. Scantily dressed ladies throwing clothing items at me, but I can't say any of that. Hey, Mario Brothers, I think I counted right. 82 days left in the Junket Cantrell administration. That's only 81 and a half days too many. 82 days left in the Junket Cantrell administration. Cha-ching. Kaboom goes the dynamite. Wow. That's still, like I said, that's too long. January 12th, I think, is Helena Moreno's inauguration day, January 12th. I want to say incompetent, insane Susan Hudson, the dysfunctional sheriff. I want to say she stays in office till May. I think until May. Yucky. Speaking of yucky, the city budget deficit's around 200 million reportedly. It was 63 million about 2 weeks ago. Then a few days later, the city's like, we miscalculated. It's about 100 million. Then the Louisiana State Legislative Auditor comes in and is like, no, it's about 160 mil. And now it's like 200 million. Good job, Junket Cantrell. Did I mention 82 days is 81 and a half too many? Governor Jeff Landry says he wants National Guard troops in New Orleans before next month's Bayou Classic, before next month's Thanksgiving weekend. They're expecting like 200,000 visitors in the city over the Thanksgiving weekend. That's crazy. That's a lot of folks. Does Brian Kelly need to be fired at LSU? We've been discussing it the last few days. Scott Rabalais from The Advocate joined us in the 4 o'clock hour talking about it. You know, it's year 4. Playoffs seem unlikely. That would be no playoffs in 4 years. None. You know, recruiting, it always is a highly ranked class, but there's more to it. I mean, every year you could get a top-ranked class, and all you're recruiting are, say, wide receivers. Now, I don't know the breakdown, but not enough D linemen. That's for sure. Not enough quality offensive linemen. LSU gets skilled players by default. But when Brian Kelly has to go to the transfer portal like he did last year, that's not like supplementing a few positions. That's like filling in a bunch of roster spots, like 6, 7 starters from the transfer portal. That's not working. That there's a problem with regular recruiting. And now going to have to do it again. Going to have to come up with like another 15, 20 mil and do it all over again, because recruiting, although highly ranked class, is not filling all the holes, and not every year filling the holes where there's major problems. Last year, you had 2 starters. One was like Wisconsin, one from like Syracuse or something on the D line. They weren't even very good. They just had no choice, had to bring in these guys. This year, a little more aggressive, but still just not the depth you see like at Georgia or Alabama or Ohio State on the D line, critical position. And LSU in the past always had like 6, 8 guys on the D line, 3 or 4 starters and 3 or 4 backups that were almost as good as the damn starters. I don't see anything like that at all in Baton Rouge. You could argue Brian Kelly's failing on some major fronts, and that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. You know, Brian Kelly runs the table against Texas A&M, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Alabama, A&M, Alabama, Oklahoma. May or may not make the playoffs, but boy, that helps him big time. Brian Kelly gets ripped by those 3 teams, goes 0-3, and gets handled pretty easily. That could be enough to oust Brian Kelly. Scott Rabalais was talking about Brian Kelly will be 64 on Saturday. You know, if LSU goes to him about, man, we're thinking about going in another direction, we want to renegotiate your buyout, he might be like, you know what? I haven't reached the goals I'm supposed to hit. It is year 4. Should have made the playoffs, not once, but probably 2 times. 2 times probably in 4 years. Every other year, LSU should be in the playoffs. That's not too much to ask when you're LSU, because that's what Georgia's doing. That's what Alabama's doing. That's what Ohio State's doing. So maybe he'll say, you know what, I'll go retire. I'll take the 30 mil. I'll cut the deal with him and head out of Dodge. Call it a day. No, I'm not out to get anyone. I don't like hate Brian Kelly. I just think it's year 4 and LSU's not kind of dominating right now. LSU should be a top 5, top 6, 7 team. When LSU's 20th ranked in the AP and there are 8, count them, 8 SEC teams ranked ahead of LSU, 8. There's 16 teams in the league. I can't say this enough. LSU football's in the bottom half of the SEC right now. Not in the top half, the bottom half, like the bottom 8, not the top 8. There are 8 teams ranked ahead of LSU. That's failure to me. LSU right now is the 9th best team in the SEC, according to the Associated Press. That reeks of failure. Yeah, I mentioned going into that last break, Donald Trump is a trip. from the weekend comments, Venezuela is going to give us everything we want. You know why? Because Venezuela doesn't want to. I hate even saying like F-bomb, Mario Brothers. I say 6th letter of the alphabet. You know, like if someone gets rude, I say, hey, 6th letter of the alphabet and 6th to last letter of the alphabet. The 6th to last is the letter U.
That's way too much, man.
It is?
Way too many words. Yeah.
What? I'm saying way too many.
Yes.
Yeah, it's caustic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So 6th letter of the alphabet's better, right? 6th letter of the alphabet, bomb.
Yes.
But that's what President Trump said. Because Venezuela doesn't want a 6th letter of the alphabet bomb around with the United States. Oh, boy. And then he pardons George Santos like a minute later. That goofy George Santos. I don't get that. But P. Diddy's not getting a pardon. Now, I don't like the flip-flopping on Ukraine. You know, a few weeks ago, Ukraine, we're going to get them Tomahawk missiles. Now it's, Putin, Vladimir Zelensky wants, missiles. He wants all kind of missiles. He says, quote, when you start a war, you got to know you can win the war. You don't start a war with someone 20 times your size. Russia invaded Ukraine, I don't know why Trump says stuff like this and really doesn't get called out on it. Everybody complains like the media is hard on Trump. Trump owns the media. Trump owns it. He is the master carpet bomber. He says stuff, like the media's still going like, man, he let George Santos loose, and then they're thinking about Ukraine. They can't keep up. He's the master. He controls the media strings, I swear, because he carpet bombs. He says outrageous stuff on Monday, and then when the media's trying to scramble to figure that one out, he drops a bigger bomb on Tuesday and then repeats it on Wednesday, and just media cannot keep up. Donald Trump owns the media in the United States. When you start a war, you got to make sure you can win a war. You don't start a war with someone 20 times your size. Russia invaded Ukraine. Zelensky and Ukraine did not start a war with Russia at all. At all. I don't know why. What bums me out about that is like, I don't know if he's like serious but regardless, I think it's like he just has some respect for Putin, and I don't get it. Like Putin, there shouldn't be respect or like. I think it's amazing how he interacts with Putin and Kim Jong-un. I'm not knocking those visits. And it's amazing Trump can do that. But he doesn't have to like them. He doesn't have to like them. And with Putin, that Alaskan visit was terrible. This one in Hungary, I don't see how that, in Budapest, I don't see how that's going to be good. If I were Donald Trump, I would give Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. I would tell Ukraine where to hit, what targets to hit. Oil and gas refinery capabilities and pipelines and port facilities that are exporting oil and gas. Then you sit with Putin and work out a, deal to end the war. A few weeks ago, literally, Donald Trump said, we're going to give Ukraine Tomahawks and really feel they have a chance to win the war and keep all their territory. And now you're not getting Tomahawk missiles. You got to end the war or Russia will annihilate you. And you got to give up territory. You got to cede territory to Russia. Zelensky's right when he's like, Russia is the world's largest country when it comes to land mass. Yeah, and they want a few more kilometers, he said. No, it's true. Now, Donald Trump needs to give Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. Ukraine needs to use them on Russian oil and gas infrastructure. And then Donald Trump and Zelensky and Putin can sit down and bang out a peace deal. But do it with leverage where Ukraine's crippling Russia more and more leverage. Instead, it's going the opposite way. And that's one thing I can't figure out with Trump. Things like pardoning George Santos. I just don't get that. And the Ukraine thing. I don't get that. Give them the Tomahawks already. 82 days left in the Junket Cantrell administration. I think I counted right. 7 weeks and 4 days, something like that. 7 weeks and 5 days, 82 days left. Yeah, that's nice, huh? 7 weeks from this Monday, there'll be a new mayor, City of New Orleans. It could be the cinder block from Home Depot. Dude, New Orleans elected this cinder block from Home Depot. New Orleans would be better off. With the cinder block, it's like the car is just parked. With Junket Cantrell, the car is fueled up, it's running, you have to pay for a driver, it's backed up in the mud, and it's just spinning its tires. Beating up the suspension, beating up the engine, got to get oil changes, got to change the transmission fluid, got to keep the car's back, going nowhere, just backed up into a bog, spinning its tires. No, a cinder block, the car would just be parked in a warehouse, not even doing anything. New Orleans would be better off with a cinder block as mayor. And the cinder block doesn't do worldwide travel. Wouldn't be, cinder block wouldn't have a passport, wouldn't be Junket cinder block. Junket Cantrell, by the way, passport seized by the feds. Yeah, you're right. No international travel. No more Junket Cantrell. She's been, is it spayed or neutered? I don't know. Tuesday afternoon edition of the program. Corey Johnson with you. Coming right back. 5 o'clock powwow continues.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Isn't it time to have that dream backyard you've always wanted? LGD Lawn and Landscapes can make it happen with artificial turf installation. Synthetic turf gives you the look and feel of natural grass. You get a beautiful lawn without the ongoing expenses of maintenance and no puddles, meaning you won't be tracking grass or dirt into the house. Let LGD come to your house and give you a free estimate. NOLALGD.com.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
As New Orleans as coffee in the morning and Fred on the fan. As New Orleans is coffee in the morning and raw oysters for lunch, it's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
Hey, tonight for dinner, how about Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville? South Shore folks, have you been there yet? I mean, if you love to dine in New Orleans, you hit all the nice spots, you kind of rotating them around, you like to eat out. If you haven't been to Gallagher's 527, you are missing out. And it's not a long drive. I made it in like 30 minutes, door to door. 25 minutes from Lakeside Shopping Center. I'm over by the Sewage and Water Board, like Riverbend, Carrollton neighborhood area, right by the parish line, by the Lowe's, right on Claiborne where it turns into Jefferson Highway, right over in that neighborhood. Less than 35 minutes door to door. I think it took me like 32 minutes. No, it's easy. 25 minutes from Lakeside Shopping Center. There's no driving on the North Shore. Right when you get to Mandeville, behind that Shell station is Gallagher's 527. You got Trey Yen immediately on your left, Gallagher's 527 immediately on your right. And I'm just thinking about the menu items I've had at Gallagher's in the last year or so since I discovered it. I've been about 15 times. Everything on the menu on a 1 to 10 scale is like a 9, 10, 11. Lights out, as good as it gets. I've had, for entrees, I've had the lamb chops. I've had the prime New York strip. I've had the quail. I've had the catfish amandine with the Meunier sauce. I've had the shish kebab with the green beans. I've had, what else? What other entrees have I had? I know I'm missing some. Let's see. For appetizers, the crab meat St. Francis, the bacon wrapped shrimp with the Meunier, the bacon wrapped oysters with the Meunier sauce. Just fantastic appetizers. Side items, the seafood mirliton. Who's got seafood mirliton at a restaurant in Metro New Orleans? Gallagher's 527 does. It's a very healthy size portion, like enough for 3 or 4 people. And it's $10. And it's full of shrimp and crab meat. It's a joke. It's a bargain. $10 for seafood mirliton, Gallagher's 527. That sweet potato casserole is like dessert. Fantastic. And speaking of dessert, the ooey gooey, the hot cake with the vanilla ice cream and the chocolate syrup, the hot and cold together. What a great dessert. Part of that $24 3-course lunch special. $24 lunch special. I spent $21 at Raising Cane's. For like $2.50 more, I can get a 3-course meal at Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville for lunch. The gumbo, the turtle soup, the crab meat St. Francis, the best crab meat appetizer anywhere. It's to die for. It's that good. My rep's on the line when I talk about a place this emphatically, that I'm saying it's not good, it's not very good, it's excellent, it's some of the best food anywhere. One of New Orleans' great restaurants. My rep's on the line. You go there and it's not lights out, you're going to be calling me. You're going to be going, went to Gallagher's, Corey's full of crap. You won't be saying Corey's full of crap. You'll be going, thanks for the recommendation, Corey. Now, I thank my buddy Mark. My buddy Mark took a photo of some lamb chops in an oval plate, sizzling in butter. I could tell they were sizzling in butter about 15 months ago. 3 days later, I was having those lamb chops at the bar at lunch at Gallagher's 527. And I've been, like I said, about a dozen, 15 times since then in like the last year, 15 months, because it's fantastic. Lunch Tuesday through Friday lunch. Tuesday through Friday lunch. Tuesday through Saturday dinner. So damn good. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Outstanding. Now, I'll be there this week because it's that good. I love it. Tuesday afternoon edition of the program, 5 o'clock power hour. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, Scott Rabalais joined us from The Advocate. I thought it was an interesting comment. He brought up, like, Brian Kelly could retire. Like, why would some reporter for 35 years covering LSU make that point if there wasn't something to it? I'm not saying Brian Kelly's considering retirement or any of that. I think there's been some talk around circles that Rabalais had said Brian Kelly will be 64 years old this Saturday. Saturday's his birthday. He'll be 64. Brian Kelly's not coaching into his 70s. Brian Kelly has a lot of success at LSU. Like if LSU were to have made 2 playoffs, maybe even won a national title, who knows how much longer Brian Kelly would coach? And then the opposite's true. Not hitting my goals. I anticipated going to LSU, and in my first 4 years, I'd have a couple of playoff visits, maybe even a national title game, at least, if not a win. None of that. No playoffs at all. Got to be going to the playoffs at least. Look at this Clemson team. They made it to the playoffs in the past. Just crazy. So no, Brian Kelly, when you talk about goals, SEC titles, playoffs, national title game, it's not happening. And it's year 4. And it's LSU, where the 3 previous coaches did make the playoffs or play for the national title. They all won national titles. Les Miles played for 2. So it's like every 4 years. So interesting. Scott Rabalais' comment about like Kelly could retire. Now, I'm just wondering if LSU approaches him. We're thinking of making a change, Brian. We don't know if we're going to do it. We just wanted to talk to you and feel you out. And he might be like, you owe me $58 million. Give me 30 and I'll walk. Who knows? There might be some negotiation and a reachable number. And Brian Kelly's 64. And what does he need in coaching? Now, don't get me wrong. Personality, competitor, wants to coach. That's fine. Maybe he's like, I'm turning 64 Saturday. I don't need this. And coupled with, I thought I'd have more success at this point while being the coach at LSU. Man, you need to go to my Twitter, my X. Follow me at Corey Johnson. The show is live on Twitter, on X every day. Live on YouTube. But if you go to at Corey Johnson, follow me on Twitter, on X. I posted my new putting and chipping green in my backyard that LGD Lawn and Landscapes installed in about 20 hours. They came one afternoon, knocked out a bunch of the work. The next day, they had it done by like lunchtime. I guess if they got to your house early one morning, they could knock out the job that day in a single day. Go to NOLALGD.com, NOLALGD.com, and check out the installations of artificial turf, synthetic turf, all over Metro New Orleans. Uptown, Old Metairie, North Shore, Gentilly, West Bank, Kenner, all over Metro New Orleans. NOLALGD.com. No, the installations are impressive, especially folks that have a small backyard or have a pool in the backyard, don't want the kids, the dogs tracking in mud, dirt, water, the pool, grass around it. No, artificial turf. It's beautiful. It's maintenance free. They use Sin Lawn, which is what Tiger Woods Golf Tour uses. It's the best in the industry. LGD Lawn and Landscapes, New Orleans own. Check them out online, NOLALGD.com. Get an absolutely free estimate on installation of artificial synthetic turf in your backyard. NOLALGD.com. Yeah, and go to my X account, Twitter, and check out the video I posted of my backyard green and chipping area. Now, I bring my putter back there. First off, I got like 6-8 balls that just sit on the green 24/7. I bring my putter and wedge back there, and I do a little chipping, and I putt, a lot of 4-footers, just trying to make the short putts. I miss too many of those. No, I love it. And you don't have to have holes. It doesn't have to be golf related, just synthetic turf for your backyard. Pretty cool. Tuesday afternoon, 5 o'clock power hour. Wow, the city budget deficit 2 weeks ago was $63 million. A few days later, the council's like, nah, it's more like 100. Now the Louisiana State Legislative Auditor goes in. He says it's $163 million. And today there are reports that it's closer to $200 million. Good job, Junket Cantrell. Speaking of, 82 days left in Junket Cantrell's administration. Governor Jeff Landry says he wants National Guard troops in New Orleans before next month's Bayou Classic, before next month's Thanksgiving weekend. where 200,000 plus folks are expected to come into New Orleans for that Thanksgiving weekend. He wants it a week before Thanksgiving. That was the quote. A week before Thanksgiving, before next month's Bayou Classic, National Guard troops. At first, I had a problem with it. I was like, New Orleans has, a crime rate that's gone down. Got the NOPD, more proactive, Troop NOLA doing their job. Don't need National Guard troops. Plus the perception, we're a tourist and convention city. It yells, we have a crime problem. And then listening to folks that are reasonable and rational and common sense, not some wacky political agenda. Someone like Raphael Goyeneche with the Metropolitan Crime Commission. He looks at numbers, statistics, and he's like, when the National Guard troops were here for like Super Bowl, New Year's, that kind of stuff, violent crime was down compared to when they weren't. The beautiful thing about the National Guard and why I've changed my tune, like that kind of thinking, and also they're not like proactively policing. They're not like chasing criminals. They're not, hey, let's play detective, law and order. They're standing around in their camouflage with other National Guard, and they've got AR-15 rifles, and they're decked out. And if you're a criminal, you're like, there's a better place to commit a crime than with these National Guard troops right here. So it's the physical presence that deters crime, and it frees up, since the National Guards walk in the beat, quote, walk in the beat. The NOPD, Troop NOLA, they get to go be detectives. They get to go pursue criminals. They get to go be proactive cops. They don't have to walk the beat and just show a presence. That's taken care of with the National Guard. So they can go out and nab some criminals. So you're limiting violent crime. You're decreasing it with just the National Guard presence. You're freeing up the NOPD and Troop NOLA to proactively police, to go arrest criminals. No, it's only a positive. So you can say it's political grandstanding. It's all BS by the Trump administration. I don't know. As a citizen in New Orleans with violent crime in this city, like many North American cities, got no problem with that military presence.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Total Raiders keep you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spot. TM-AC.com, your cool spot.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
lawn, artificial turf, custom golf putting greens. Beautiful, functional, zero maintenance. Call New Orleans' own LGD Lawn and Landscapes and get your free estimate. Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
I bet his smells like sandalwood.
Corey Johnson.
He's absolutely magnificent.
Got to keep this up till 6. Wow. It's almost 6 o'clock. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. 5 o'clock powwow continues. Scott Rabalais from The Advocate joined us last hour. Does Brian Kelly need to be fired at LSU? Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx. What do you think on that? I think you, me, Scott Rabalais all kind of think the same way.
Yeah, I think so. I think I don't know. I feel like I could have kind of predicted this last year.
Hey, boost that level a little.
Based on the first 3 years, he hasn't shown much progress, and now they're going backwards. I feel like he's a really good coach. He's put together a good career, but at this point in time, LSU might want to, explore something different.
And look, I'm not into this kind of emotional crap, but I think there's some validity to it. I don't know if he's ever been like a good fit for down here. Like
No.
Les Miles wasn't, and he adjusted and fit in.
Exactly.
Ogeron's a natural. He's one of us. Saban was a Midwest, West Virginia guy. He fit in after a while. I don't know if Brian Kelly's ever like fit in. And the strobe light spinning thing with the recruits is
Yeah.
one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed in my life.
I think there's something to be said for reaching your players.
No,
Like,
I guess
think-
so. Is he reaching them or they're like running
don't-
from it?
Exactly. I
Who's
don't
the
think
old
he is.
60-year-old white dude doing this? Like, does it work? That's what I'm wondering.
No, not really. That's what I'm saying. Like Nick Saban was never doing anything like that.
Never,
Like,
ever do anything like that ever.
Yeah, and he tried. To his credit, I think Brian Kelly really did.
No,
give his
I
effort
think so
to-
too.
He,
It's just
like at Notre Dame, like watching his media availabilities, he came off like really arrogant, really like I'm better than
he's
you.
sort of like that here at LSU a lot of the time.
You can
Mario.
make that argument. I think he's softened. Like what he did with Cobble, he used to do all the time when he was
Yeah,
at Notre
gotcha.
Dame.
Notre Dame.
Like every single time.
Gotcha.
So, but I just don't think he's getting-
Cobble is right.
Yeah, and T-Bob and other former players right now are really vocal about the fact that there seems to be like a culture problem. Like he's not reaching the players and getting the most, and you could tell through their play.
Yep. And look, I don't get into like a black coach could do it, white coach can't. That's nonsense. The
Yeah.
majority coaches are white.
Exactly.
So obviously they get it done. A 64-year-old Irish white dude from up north.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can relate necessarily to like today's players, but maybe he does. I mean, he's had so much success. He's Rabalais said it best last hour. He's a college Hall of Fame coach. He's got 300 wins.
Exactly. But he's all that because of what he did at Notre Dame and before, not because of what he did at LSU.
No, I mean, he's winning at LSU, but not at an acceptable level.
No, exactly. And he's
8-4. I mean, he hadn't gone 8-4. 8, 9, 10 wins isn't, 10's enough.
And he's for sure elevated.
isn't.
He's for sure elevated it to where it was when he took over, the last 2 years of Coach O, but he also has not come close to reaching the heights of what it was.
No, exactly. Not compared to the previous 3 coaches who all won national championships.
Yeah. I mean, look at Ole Miss. If they make a playoff with Lane Kiffin before Brian Kelly does with LSU.
That's a disaster.
Yeah. In this
That is
age,
a disaster.
Like LSU's also always had infinitely more resources than them, but now they have that even more with NIL and the transfer portal.
Yep.
So, and again, we're not asking them to go undefeated like 9-3, 10-2, make the playoff, and that hasn't happened.
And the NIL and the transfer portal, that has changed college football. It's sort of made a little more parity.
Yep.
Still, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State separate themselves from the pack.
For sure.
Not that there aren't teams that are creeping in there that haven't been there before. That's the NIL parity thing. But my point is those powerhouses are still powerhouses. Why isn't LSU one of them?
Yeah, exactly. Or at least be competing with them.
No, and if you think about why Brian Kelly was brought in, it was to make the playoffs. So at this point, if Brian Kelly were, quote, successful LSU would be have at least one playoff berth already in the first 3 years. And you could argue you got to make one this year. So it's like 2 of 4 years.
Exactly.
And if you don't this year, it would be a failure because you only made one playoff.
Exactly.
He's over, no playoff. So it's a blatant failure, I would say.
It is. And you could tell about kind of the instability of the program. Like, it's been a revolving door of coordinators. You've had really weak special teams units, an all-time bad defense.
And
now
Mario,
you have
I
an
don't mean
all-time
to be
bad
repetitive,
running game. Like,
but the $20 million in the, going to the transfer portal shows weakness to me.
a little bit.
Like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's great on one side. Wow, you get all these transfer portals. Yeah, the number one transfer portal class. Why do you need the number one transfer portal class when you have a top 5, top 10 recruiting class every year?
Yeah.
So the rankings say one thing. I'm not saying they don't mean anything. I'm saying they're not filling the holes they need to consistently have the roster set, have depth. And I keep being redundant, but D-line especially to me is glaring.
No.
A glaring weakness.
100%. You have to toe the line. And there have been years, I think, where he hasn't utilized the transfer portal enough because
Exactly.
he was too cocky
in the
his
past,
coaching.
he wasn't even interested in it.
Yeah.
In the first few years, never utilized it at all.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
And now he's trying to
overcompensation.
Yeah, and now he's trying to cobble it together, but it's not, and that can result in a good defense, but not really a stable program, like we said.
No, I think it's very telling when you have to hit the transfer portal that severely.
Yeah.
And guess what? Gonna have to do it again this year, just like last year.
Mhm.
Another 15, 20 mil, and you got to go out and get they had the number one class last year. Got to get a top 1, 3, 5 class in the country because you have so many holes to fill.
Exactly. And if and when they do make a new coaching hire, I think it needs to come with some element of risk, somebody who has a little better modern understanding of the game, even if they don't have the skins on the walls that like a Brian Kelly does.
No, it's great where you can always go get the coveted coach that everyone wants and is a proven winner. But Nick Saban's retired, and the other guys are, Lane Kiffin, I think would be a great hire. Who knows if Lane Kiffin's going to be successful at LSU?
Yeah, for
like
sure.
at that level. He's done great at Ole Miss. He's taken Ole Miss to a higher level than any expectation.
Exactly.
But LSU has an expectation that's absurdly high. Will Kiffin do it there? He didn't at Tennessee, didn't at USC. Different coach now. I get it. Proved it at Florida Atlantic, wherever the hell he was. Doing it at Ole Miss, off the charts. But you said it best a few minutes ago. Ole Miss makes the playoff and LSU doesn't. That really just amplifies Kelly's failure.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, they need to identify what they wanted to coach, like someone who can relate the players, someone who's an elite play caller, the way Lane Kiffin is. Like, you got to identify who you want and go after him.
Like 35% win percentage against top 25, losing record on the road. Those things almost don't seem like I'm saying the true things. Like it's real.
I think he'd be 1-3 against A&M if they lose this year, right?
Wow.
Only beating A&M one time.
Wow.
Like that can't
No,
happen.
that's just it can't happen.
Yeah. Like people used to say Les can't beat Alabama. That's why they want to let him go. Like Brian Kelly
Beat
can't
everybody else, Les. Beat
yeah,
everybody else.
Brian Kelly can't beat like the middle of the pack SEC teams.
No, I hate bringing up that Jerry Glanville, analogy. It's not perfect at all because Kelly's more successful. He's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. Glanville's nowhere near the Hall of Fame. But Glanville was famous for taking bad teams and making them good, but he couldn't make them very good or great.
Exactly. Never won a championship. I mean,
And that's Kelly. He makes bad teams good or very good, but can't make them great.
exactly.
Notre Dame and LSU.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, man. That like morale's down right now. I'm curious to see if like he kind of rallies the troops and they get this thing back on track, or if it goes the other direction and this conversation gets more interesting.
I'd like the guy to be successful. I don't want him to fail.
Yeah, neither
But
do I.
Right
but
now he's failing.
I'm so curious to see how they respond to this wave of bad football they play.
No, you run the table. The guy's a hero in a month.
Yeah, 100%.
You get beat handily by A&M, Oklahoma, and Alabama, like where they own you. Guy could get fired in a month.
Yep.
That's Blue Boy barking up a storm. That was Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx. Heading towards 6 o'clock. That means mañana. See you tomorrow, straight up 4 o'clock, wide open Wednesday. Be here.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.